You don't meet the World Health Organization criteria for mastocytosis, and your lab tests have failed to show mast cell activation associated with your symptoms. What is left for you and others in your same boat? I'm Nancy Gould, and I have indolent systemic mastocytosis. I know many of you. I understand your dejection when you realize you aren't getting any better, and again, you don't fit a diagnosis. Perhaps you have some kind of systemic inflammatory syndrome caused by a process that doesn't involve mast cells. Maybe some fresh ideas will help you find new ways to look for answers. By now, you've probably given up on a single brilliant flash in somebody's bright idea that will in one swoop diagnose your problem and point the way to feeling better. More likely, a series of findings will put together a picture that will show you and your doctors the way forward. Since mast cells don't seem to be responsible for your symptoms, look further afield. Get together with others who seem to have the same types of problems as you. If you have fibromyalgia, work with others who have fibromyalgia. If you have multiple chemical sensitivities, gather with other people who have multiple chemical sensitivities. Together, you can generate ideas and identify directions that you may not do on your own or in a group with a mast cell focus. For instance, there's considerable recent research into a chemical called platelet activating factor, or PAF. A few actions of platelet activating factor are dilation of blood vessels. In fact, it's possible that anaphylaxis can occur from the action of PAF on its own. It can cause fluid to leak from blood vessels, producing swelling. PAF can cause constriction of smooth muscles in the gastrointestinal tract, causing cramps and diarrhea, and in the respiratory tract, causing obstructed breathing. It can induce gastric ulcers, and it takes part in inflammatory reactions. Platelet activating factor is released by mast cells, but it also is released by basophils and some other cell types. Basophils release histamine and leukotriene C4, as do mast cells, but basophils do not release prostaglandin D2, which is released by mast cells. Basophils can be activated independently of mast cells. Anaphylaxis in mice can be caused by basophils without mast cell involvement. And this is probably also true in humans, especially when the anaphylaxis is triggered by food. Blood tests to show recent activation of basophils are being developed, and research is active in this area. Monocytes are white blood cells that enter the tissue and mature into macrophages. In both stages of their life, they are able to release platelet activating factor as well as other inflammation-causing chemicals. In experimental animals, macrophages can release enough PAF to cause anaphylaxis, and this may also be possible in humans. Neutrophils and eosinophils migrate into tissue, where they are able to release inflammation-causing chemicals. Recent research into the role of both these cell types is suggesting and sometimes demonstrating their involvement in several inflammatory conditions. Even the platelets in blood release chemicals that can cause inflammation and symptoms that look similar to mast cell symptoms. Lymphocytes, which include T cells and B cells, are now seen to be able to initiate inflammation. For some of you, your immune system may be producing autoantibodies that activate one of these cell types. Research is needed in order to understand which antibodies to look for and then target for treatment. Mastocytosis and mast cell specialists may not be the ones who have a research interest in these other cell types. Read some of the recent medical journal articles and see who writes them. Perhaps that information can lead you to a specialist who will be interested in you, or in a group of people who seem to have very much the same sort of disease process as you. Gather together with others who are in the same boat. Get all your ducks in a row and find new ways of helping yourself.